you're in an off season and you're looking to get the most out of it, and I'm here to help. The description shows a link for my Strongman off-season program, but continue listening to find out exactly why this is going to work for you. Now, when we're in season, we're always focusing on movement patterns. We're trying to get stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger in very particular movements. We never really give a whole lot of attention to the muscle groups that contribute to those movement patterns. If you're deadlifting and you have weak hamstrings, there are technical ways to get around that, but your ceiling will always be lower because of your weak hamstrings. The off season is a time to objectively analyze where am I weak, where am I strong, and how do we build those areas up. For me, I know during the season, I got to work really hard on log stability on my chest to help my leg drive, to have strong leg presses. But I know in the off season, my triceps are just not where they need to be to have a massive log press. So I'll focus more on my triceps, even though that's going to be more of a long run. The off season is about raising the ceiling and building a bigger engine to then take advantage of when you put the fuel in when you're practicing those movement patterns into your next season. Next, we're just tackling the fundamentals. We need to get back to learning how your body moves. When we prep, we're in such low volume states, and that's very useful when we're doing 1, 2, 3 reps and learning how to lift heavy, but there's nothing that just replaces 3 sets of 10 squats. For example, 30 squats is always going to build a better movement pattern at a lower intensity than 3 squats of 1 rep max. You need a period of transition to go from 3 by 10 to 1 rep maxes. You can't just transition that straight over and assume that you'll get better. But it is a time to increase your volume, increase your practice, and increase your neural connections. Next is building back balance. When we think of either powerlifting or strongman competitions, we're always thinking of pushing, hinging, squatting. Those are the 3 major movement patterns. And when we're pushing, obviously we're talking triceps, shoulders, chest. When we're deadlifting, it's a lot of legs and some of your spinal erectors. And when we're talking squatting, obviously quads, hamstrings, glutes, a lot is involved. But rarely are we pulling anything towards us. We might have an odd arm over arm pull, but we're obviously going to get imbalanced in our pulling muscles. So you need to have a little bit of a shift more towards your pulling than you're pushing to ensure muscular balance over the long run, and we don't run into issues like our shoulder pain, our hip pain, our back pain. Next, we need to restore the central nervous system. Our muscles during the competition season actually have a rest for the most part, so long as you don't come across an injury, but the volume is so low that we are basically just taxing the nervous system over and over and over. During the off season, we're going to tax the muscular system, and this is the building the base. But our nervous system has a relative rest during this period. If we're not putting maximal loads on ourselves, we're not working to maximal intensity very often, that is going to be helpful to then have a fresher perspective when you go into the gym. A couple of ways to identify if you are systemically fatigued is if you're losing enthusiasm towards your workouts. If you're feeling like you're tired when you're driving to the gym. If you're feeling like you can't sleep through the night. All of these things could be a great sign that you need to go into an off season. Lastly, we need to get our joints back to 100%. It's not inherently bad for your joints to lift heavy weights, but I always talk about focusing on strength sports and focusing on a performance outcome in any way is not going to be the healthiest thing for you. It's going to take a toll because we just don't let ourselves rest like we need to because we're pushing and pushing and pushing. Higher volumes, lower intensity movement is going to help the joints. Long story short, the joints don't have their own blood supply. The only way that they get nutrients in and out is through changes in pressure. When we squeeze down, the fluid squeezes out, and when we relax, the fluid will suck back in, and that change in fluid is what gets nutrients out and nutrients in and helps us feel better over the long run. I hope that helps you guys. If you're interested, the link is in the description. Regardless, leave a comment if you could. Lift heavy, be kind, and I would love to help you out.